Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start preparing. One thing I didn't mention, or actually two things I didn't mention are, one, you need to go ahead and wear either old clothing or protective clothing. I like to have it long sleeve so that if I do spill anything, I won't get it on my skin. It'll be on my clothes, which if the lye eats a hole through it, it's no big deal. The second thing is, if you do spill some, you want to try the lye water when we get there. You're going to want to try neutralizing it, and the best way to do that is to have some vinegar handy. I don't usually keep it on hand, so I'm going to just be extra careful, and that's something you should do all the time. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put my goggles on. And see about turning this thing on. Oh, it's on. Alright. I think I'll start with, excuse me for going over, the water. And I'm going to zero out, because in here it tells me that I can use 15 to 22 ounces of liquid. 16 ounces is going to be a pound, so I'm going to start with trying for 16 ounces. Why am I using a lower number in the water? It's basically because then I don't have as much that has to dry out. Okay, that's only 10 ounces. You can go lower, but I don't like playing with fire. I used the wrong side. My water is now done. The next thing I'm going to do is my lye solution. So let me zero it out again. Now here's the thing. I mix my lye outside all the time. And what I do is, this is going to be what I mix the lye in. And I always pour in the lye. So I have a dry container. It has to be dry because as soon as the lye touches the water, it heats up a lot. So you have to make sure that the container you use is going to be dry. With Majestic Mountain soaps, they give you a lye table that has a whole bunch of different ones and gives you an idea of where you want it. I always go into the range that it says they use most often, and because I've got to deal with the quirkiness of the scale, I use that range. So for 5 to 10, that's where it's highlighted. I need anywhere between 8.45 and 8.19 ounces of lye. And that means I'm going to try to go from 8.2 to 8.4 with my lye. Where's my lye? Okay, now I'm getting right into the things, so on go the gloves. And I'm going to take them off again when I start messing with my oils, so. There we go. It's the first time I open this one up, so let's see how they've got it packaged. How nice. Okay. The lye that I have here has some chunks in it, so I am going to get my spatula and break up some of those chunks. Okay, 8.3, 8.4. That? That's a 0.2 ounce, so I'm going to have to go a little ways. Okay, it looks like I'm going to be using a lot. Whoops, there's a big chunk. That's 4.3. I hope this is a big enough container. Stick to my spatula. I'm getting some moisture in here. Okay. That still says 8.3. Oh, wait, what am I thinking? I did want 8.3, excuse me. Alright, I'm going to sit that down, and I'm going to go ahead, what the heck, I'll put this back on too. Close that up tightly. I like keeping that tight. That keeps me from getting those chunks all the time. Excuse me while I put that away. Now, I'm going to stick this aside and try to keep it away from water until we're ready to go outside. Now I'm going to mix my oils, and that can be a pain in the butt. But we're going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to try and get them all done in one container. Here's something I like to do. I have a nice, very big container here, and I put all of my oils in here. If I've got oils that aren't liquid, I will go ahead and put this in the microwave to melt them. I don't worry about getting the temperature of my lye water and my oils the same temperature. I'll let the lye water, as hot as it is, bring this up to temperature. I just like to make sure all of my oils are melted. Usually they're not at the same temperature, but that's enough. And I do it in the microwave. So what we're going to do here is first zero this puppy out. And I've chosen in this basic soap to use 4 different types of oils. I've got canola oil, olive oil, the palm kernel, and the coconut oil. And I know the coconut oil is going to be my solid one, so I'm going to actually take that one and use it first. I'm taking my gloves off. Please excuse me for that. Getting another spatula because I don't want to. And this will also help me scoop out the oil. And you see, that's going to be trash. But now, there's my coconut oil. And it's pretty solid in there. So this may not be a good enough thing for me to scoop it out with. But I'm going to give it a shot. What the heck. And this one here I happened to pick up right in the grocery store one day, in with the oils. Alright, so I'm going to go back to reading. Coconut oil, 9 ounces. That's 15% of my recipe. Okay, we're looking at 9 ounces of my coconut oil, and the next small increment is 9 ounces of palm kernel oil. And this one's not as white. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see, it's got some liquid in there. So 9. Now, the other thing that we've got here before I start pulling is, this is a postal scale, so it weighs in pounds and ounces. So this is a perfect time for you to make sure that you know what your calculations are going to be. Got a little Christmassy. And now, a lot of people tend to mix everything separate. I don't like wasting, so I know I have to be extra careful. So if you saw that first plop, that's to judge how far down it'll go with that amount, so that I can kind of gauge when I need to slow down or cut back. And I should just close all the way, excuse me. Okay. Is check off when I've got them done. So I did my coconut and I did the palm kernel. Both of those are my solids. So those are the ones that I'm going to end up taking it to the microwave to melt them down. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add 21 ounces. 16. Canola oil. And I really don't need this thing anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and sit in the sink, ready for me to do whatever I need to. 2 pounds, 7 ounces. I know I'm not there, but I wanted to see. Okay. pounds, 7 ounces. And mark that. Do the same thing for my palm kernel. Now, you see what I'm doing? I'm double checking myself. Excellent. To make sure that I'm not putting on more than this scale can, because so I would take this off and measure this in a separate container and then pour it in. But here I'm going to have minimal waste. All right, so I've got another 1 pound, 5 ounces, 7, so that's 12 ounces. I should have 3 pounds, 12 ounces. And it's all said and done. Trash. Eight, 9. There we go. 3 pounds, 11 ounces. So at this point, I have completed my oils measurements. I've got my lye measurements, and everything's all ready. At this point, I'm going to stop the tape again. I'm going to go ahead and take this into a microwave so I can melt those oils that you see. And we're going to also go ahead and show you how I do the mixing of the lye and the water. And then we'll come back, do a mold, and actually make soap. See you in a few. What I'm going to end up doing is just taking a little bit of water. And spatulate some of this out. And do you like the way I measure? I don't usually measure this stuff. I just go for the gusto. I'm going to put 3 scoops in. What the heck? See what it looks like after I stir it. And as you see, I'm sorry, I pick water-based instead of oil-based. And then what I end up doing is, if once I start pouring it in something that's not enough, I go ahead and add some more. Okay. But I think that's good, don't you? Have that. I've got that sitting in the back. Now, I'm going to pull some things up as we go so you can see what I've got going on. And I didn't even use this. Right here, and that's going to be front and center for when we come back. I've got my oils, and as you can see, completely melted, and actually it's a little bit warm to the touch. I've got another container right here that I'm going to sit there. That's going to be the thing that I add the color to. So now I'm just going to pull that out. I've got what we're going to go outside with in just a minute. And last but not least, let's put this out of the way, because before we start this, we want to make sure we have everything. I'm going to go ahead and try using this mold. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. They go in after I pour it in, and they're supposed to help you don't have to cut your soap into bars. So I'm going to be using that one. But the one that is the most important to me is this one. And in essence, all I did was I took that priority mail box with a pair of scissors, knife, whatever. I cut it in half. Went ahead and put it together because I think that's a wide enough bar of soap, and I'll probably only pour it to be about that deep to make nice looking bars. And then, seal it please. And then I took some of that paper that I was talking about, and since I left it at home today and I don't have it, I just used one of my spare sheets that I had around, and I line it. And I want it to fit in there as well as I can, and in actuality, this side is a better side. The ends are going to end up being cut off, but you don't want any leaks in it. So all of the openings are towards the top. And when I pour it in, I'll pour it into the depth that I'm satisfied with, and then I'm ready for it. So we're going to sit this aside too, because I'm going to use that one first. But that's to prove that you don't have to worry about it. The other one I'm going to see if I have any space left for is this one, which is a flexible mold I have never used. I want to see what it looks like. I go ahead, and just so you see, I go ahead and I have extra molds. I'm making about 5 pounds of soap, and I don't know how much everything will hold. So this way, if I do have extra, I've got some place to put it and I'm not scrambling at the end. So I always make or have more than enough molds. Alright, let me look at everything. And I'm not going to just, let's set this back. I was trying to get ready for the next part. I'm not going to just pour it in. I want to pour it in and stir it. I never add the water to the lye too hot. I always add the lye to the water. So that's ready for me to go outside. As you can see, I am outside. And go ahead and see how it's already clumpy like that. Just because it sat out all that time. Go ahead and add the rest of this. And it's getting really hot. And it'll give off some fumes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I do this outside.